For the first time, the European Union lacks leadership. A few years ago, when Merkel or Sarkozy were in the European Union, it worked in such a way that we didn't like it much, because we often waited for Merkel and Sarkozy's meeting to see what they would agree on, and then they basically announced the result of the meeting. Today, we don't have leaders in the EU like the French president or the German chancellor, who would dictate where and how Europe should go. The second big problem we have in the EU is that we absolutely don't respect other opinions. Absolutely. If you say something different, precisely as in the newspapers SME or in Denik N, it's the end. You can't say anything different. Other opinions are not tolerated. Now I'm asking you very simply. The European Union wants to make a decision that in the years 2026 and 2027, we would give Ukraine 140 billion euros for military expenses. Excuse me, you can agree with that, and I will respect your opinion. But I'm telling you that I will never agree with this opinion. Never. And I refuse for Slovakia to participate in any financial or other scheme that gives Ukraine 140 billion for the next 2 years for the war. I don't want wars. I want it to end. And I talked about this war with Putin, with CTP North, and with everyone I've talked about it. I have repeatedly told Russian President Putin. You know what's strange is that I meet with Putin and then everybody calls me. What did he say? What did he say? How was it? What did he say? So that's what you're going to meet him at. Someone will tell you, I'm going to meet the PIN network. What did he say? How was it? I encourage everyone to do one thing, and I did the last time I was there in December. Or, of course, I was at the liberation celebrations in May. I spoke to President Putin. Mr. President, for God's sake, why don't you at least do some sort of ceasefire? Stop these wars for a moment. Stop it. Killing each other. This is not what the Greens want, and this is not what Putin wants either. So I blame both of them equally. Because I spoke to Green in the same way. Everywhere we go, we say that this is killing Slavs and the biggest loser from this war will be Ukraine. Ukraine has been used as a tool, thinking that Russia will be brought to its knees in this war, but it is not. Look at the real state of the Russian economy. Not at all as you assume, young man. And I think the biggest problem is that the EU is going to provide 140 billion euros for the continuation of the war. Do you know how many young people will be killed? If you are such heroes and in those black t-shirts and so much for the war, then go. You'll have your own. Hold on. Don't be afraid. I don't envy you. I'm not running away. Not from credit. Not from anyone else. I'm here. Okay? Well, have your fun also in November. So once again, young man, go. Come and stand up and go fight in Ukraine. Feel free, we'd be happy to help. Well, this is exactly what I keep saying, that when there is a different opinion, is it working? It's working. That different opinion is disrespected. A different opinion. Do you have everything properly recorded? Okay, so the students left after I said that if you want to go fight, then go, take machine guns and go there to fight with the Russians. I absolutely fundamentally reject that. I will finish your question that you asked. Colleague, they are not able to meet. Understand? Neither Putin nor Zelensky is capable even of shaking hands. Unfortunately, they are not. And therefore, I think that the decision of the committee or the EU is that we are now going to give 140 billion euros, which means further continuation of the war. I am very sorry for this. It is very sorrowful for me, because this is the road to hell. And about Venezuela, about Colombia, and other things. I have only had the opportunity to speak with President Trump twice on the phone so far, when I congratulated him on his election and then we spoke on the phone once more. And we are now waiting for confirmation that there will be a meeting to sign the intergovernmental agreement on the nuclear reactor in Jaslovsky Bohunis. Trump, my colleague, has brought elements into politics that were never there, and these are elements. I call them that business elements in politics. He is a businessman. He has no problem saying we will stop this war, but in return I want a mineral deal. I will stop this war, but I want something else. It's rare that these elements have come into politics. On the other hand, it is very unpredictable. We don't know what he will do tomorrow or the day after. That is why we are just watching what is happening around this fight with drug dealers in Latin America. And maybe you'll believe it, maybe you won't. I was supposed to be in Brazil last week, Venezuela, and we were supposed to be in Panama. That was a big trip organized for the environment. but many countries have cancelled it just because of the security situation. That nobody knows that you're going on a boat and you get hit by a missile because somebody feels that you're carrying drugs. President Trump, with all due respect, and I really respect every single leader in the world, every single one. Please, let us respect each other. He's a cowboy. You know, he brought in elements that were never in politics. But on the other hand, let's be grateful that he brought those elements in, because if the Biden administration had continued, it would have been worse and worse and worse. I'm sorry he has no more influence on that war in Ukraine that he hasn't understood. Remember his statement that if I were president in 24 hours, the war would be over? If I were president, there would never be this war. Trump has been president for almost a year now, and the war is still on because it has completely different causes and reasons than we might read in the newspapers or some media. Colleague, I can see that. And unfortunately the story is coming from the European Union. I have argued 100 times in front of all the prime ministers on the subject of the Ukrainian war, and I said, you know, colleagues, the prime minister asked, what happened in Odessa in 2014? I understand that you don't have those resources. Young friends, listen. This was a massive slaughter of pro-Russian citizens. Never. I will never agree to 140 billion for Ukraine. I will never agree to 140 billion for Ukraine because that is 2 years of killing, 2 more years of killing. Didn't you shoot at me? Thank you. Sorry, that was a joke. So please maintain your personal bravery. They had no idea. Someone told them. Put on your black t-shirts and see the lecture, because we're going to make a mess. What a mess they made. What did they do? Nothing. They have shown that they are not prepared to share a different opinion. That's all they showed at today's meeting.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that we will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest newsmakers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.